men are in danger of becoming extinct.
Be conscious and moral. Where I grew up with brothers, we are going for young, that kind of conscious that they came to do it and wanted to. So that is very hard. So that probably one came up. Why they not here? So possibly yes, but
Well, the scene is all about frequency.
I am Kieran Regis. I'm a leadership consultant and a life coach, and I want to endorse the product Frequency. Wow, man, I believe that brought out my creativity tonight. I really, really believe that. Right, so everybody be good, be safe, be blessed.
There is an important topic that we have to touch upon. I believe that men are in danger of becoming extinct. There is, I would say, a narrative that is creating a system to make men weak. The rates of suicide right now is horrible. Just a little while ago, we heard our friend talking about the gentleman he knew who terminated his life. We don't know what for. But in this discussion, I am hoping that we will be able to dive into this topic, identify the problem, and see the cause of this problem, and then highlight some solutions. So I want this discussion to be open. So I don't have all the answers. You know, some of you will have the answers. I've seen an elder here. I shall probably ask the elders for permission to start to talk. Because you don't need, in the African culture, we talk to the elders first. And we ask for permission. Sir, do I have your permission to continue? Right, thank you very much, sir. Right. So, we are talking about the mental health for men. And as I personally am looking at the structure of society, I also have to look at relationships as well. Because I have noticed that there's a narrative that is trying to tell men to be weak as men. We are looking at where there are narcissistic individuals in relationships, and I'm speaking about not all women, some women, who do not understand the value of a good man. And they will do their utmost best to manipulate him and to keep him down, and then eventually, you know, it leads to some detrimental issues. Now, let me openly say that I don't hate women. If I remember correctly, I think my mother is a woman, right? I believe my aunt is a woman. I have some cousins who are ladies as well, right? So I do not hate women. As a student of IFA, there's a narrative that speaks about the creation story of the earth and the role that Mother Oshun would have played. I wouldn't dive into it too deeply right now based on time. But we who are students of IFA, we understand the importance of the female energy. But it doesn't mean to say that the male energy should not be disrespected. The male energy should not be disrespected. I've never seen where in any religion that they are talking about disrespecting men. But I also believe that women should not be disrespected as well, seeing that they are the portal for life to get here. Right? So we have to reverence and respect women. However, that should not lead to the sacrificing of the sanity of a man. I believe in a relationship that it should be a give and take. Sometimes the man would compromise, and sometimes the woman would compromise. But we saw a movement that was saying, "Down with men." You don't need a man in the home. A woman could be both mother and father. And then now we are seeing these statistics in modern day time, because that happened in the past, right? And that narrative is still going and is becoming stronger and stronger. But now, looking at some statistics that came out of the United States, they are saying that a lot of the males that are in the prison system came from single mother homes. A lot of the teenage pregnancies come from single mother homes. But they also recognize that homes with both parents, the results were different. They were less likely to end up in prison. The males were less likely to end up in prison, and the females were less likely to become teenage mothers. However, they also recognize that in single father homes, they produce the same results as homes with both parents. So it showed that the important component in the family unit could be the male. So we are seeing where a certain movement created issues in the modern day home, and society is paying for it now. A man, it's difficult in this modern time to be a man. A man will get up early in the morning, he will go out there, he will do what he needs to do to provide for his family. Let's just say his wife is not working. But for some of these ladies, they find it challenging to make a sandwich for the man at 2 o'clock in the morning. But if this gentleman decides to not do his role and function, what will happen to that home? If someone is to intrude into that home, 2 o'clock in the morning, he would be expected as a man to defend his family. But how is it difficult if it is he's hungry 2 o'clock in the morning for his wife to get up and make a sandwich? A lot of times women want traditional men but don't want to be traditional wives. Think about it. I want you all to really listen to me. So I'm encouraging men to be men. I'm encouraging men to be fathers, because our sons and our daughters are our legacy. Because I firmly believe that a man, only a man, could teach a man how to be a real man. I do not believe a woman could fully do that. She may have ideas, but then again, if she was a product of a single mother home, what was put on display? For her to see, her to recognize what a real man is. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't fathers who are not taking up their responsibility willingly. That of course we know that. We know that does exist. That does exist. We also know that there are mothers who are not taking up their responsibility as well. Yes, and they prefer to be out partying and so forth, and while the children are at home by themselves in some instances. Am I talking foolishness? No? Am I making sense? Yeah. So, what we need to do in correcting all of these things is take the first step of educating our sons and our daughters on these topics. Let's encourage the fathers, because there are a lot of dynamics and mechanics involved there. Because we even have to look at slavery. There's a social scientist by the name of Joy DeGrude. She came up with a social theory called post-traumatic slave disorder. Anybody ever heard about that? You live in that? And you are correct. You are correct. And it shows where behaviors from the past are impacting the behaviors today. Because remember, children learn through observation as well. So if it is, so like one story I remember Joy DeGrude would have told about a family that always cut off the back of the pot roast. And one of the daughters asked, "Mom, why do you cut off the back of the pot roast?" And she said, "I don't know, my mother always did it." So she went and asked Granny, "Granny, why do you always cut off the back of the pot roast?" She said, "I don't know. My mother did it." So she went to her great-grandmother. "Grandma, why do you cut off the back of the pot roast?" And then great-grandmother said, "Well, what happened? My pot that I had for the pot roast was too small, so I would cut off the back of it for it to fit into the pot." No one knew the logical reason for why this act was taking place, but everyone was just duplicating it. What am I getting at? In slavery, a mother has a son. She realizes that the master, or the massa, as they call them, wanted to sell that child to another estate. She didn't want to be separated from her child. So she would tell the master, "Oh, that stupid boy, he dotish, he's an idiot. The little boy hearing that. What things going to happen to him? He doesn't know the logical reasoning behind what's going on there, that his mother's trying to protect him. He doesn't know that. So what happens? He grows up believing that he's dumb and he's stupid. And this behavior is being duplicated over the centuries. From father to son, from mother to daughter. Throughout the centuries. And then some people say this may not be true, but the Willie Lynch speech. Y'all gonna know about that? Yeah, please do. Turn the woman against the man. Switch the roles. Switch the roles. Let the woman know that the man cannot protect her anymore. So what she does, so what does the mother do when she realizes that? She trains her daughter to be strong mentally and trains her son to be weak mentally. I want you all to understand what I'm saying. Because these are the things that we have to correct if we are to create the right type of men in society right now. And to create the right type of women in society. Because a man will see his daughter dressing a certain way and say, hey, you're opening up yourself for attack. There are predators out there. At 13 years of age, you should not be dressing like that. A mother might come and say, oh God, relax yourself now. Not all mothers, But there are some mothers who do that because they themselves don't know better. Because probably they didn't grow up with a father. So now women are saying that men are weak. That's what they're saying now. A lot of women are saying that men are weak. But check the statistics again. I mentioned it earlier. A lot of the men who they are calling weak are products of single mother homes. Can a mother teach a boy to be a man? But guess what? Do you know a man could teach a woman, a young girl, how to be a lady, how to be a woman, teach her how to dress properly, teach her how to carry herself in such a way that a man will have to look at her with respect because he knows how men think. He knows. So he's going to teach his daughter that. Don't wear those skimpy clothes like that. Come on, you're a queen. You're a Nubian princess. Don't conduct yourself in such a manner to make yourself open to predators that are out there. I really hope that you all are understanding, and I hope that the listening public would understand where I'm coming from. I don't hate women. As I said before, my mom is a woman. Last time I understood that. She's a woman. I think she still is. My aunt is still a woman. I have some cousins who I get along really well with. They are women as well. I'm in a relationship with a woman. So I don't hate women. Right? So of course I know this is what is going to come out of this discussion here. That we hate women. Because that's the first thing we like to do, because there's a narrative that is geared for men to not talk a certain way, to not talk as men, to not stand up and hold people accountable. And this is something I noticed as well too, because when a woman holds a man accountable consistently, you ain't this, you ain't doing this, you're not doing that. Alright, fair enough. But when a man does the same thing, they have names for him. He hates women. What's the other word that I heard the other day? I was having a discussion with some ladies and they said, Sim. Huh? Sim? Nah, I ain't no Sim. Nah, but it has some Sims out there. Unfortunately. Huh? Nah, not that one. Like the men are talking about, I think it's misogynist. Misogynist. Yes. They give you those labels so that you wouldn't speak and identify the faults that they want to enforce upon us. Because they consistently say that we have to accept them for who they are. Alright, fair enough. Will you accept us for who we are? And then we also have to look at the fact that in a relationship, because we're talking about men's mental health, right? So we're looking at the factors that could compromise a man's mental health. So in relationships, we would see where women would insult men, call them all kind of names. And keep in mind that men are logical. What a woman does with her words, a man could do with his fist. But if he does it, he's in problems. But women would verbally abuse men consistently. Now, I'm not saying that men don't do it. I've seen situations where men do it, and it's wrong across the board. It shouldn't be right when it comes from one person.